Hey everyone, welcome to our MCE community workshop for our new Fairfield customers. We'll give it a minute or so for folks to trickle in. I know it's just a minute or so past 6:30, so hang tight and we will start shortly. All right, folks, well, I think we can get started here. Some of my colleagues at MCE will be admitting folks into the room as they show up, but I think we can begin our presentation. So good evening. Welcome to all of our guests from Fairfield, our newest MCE member community. My name is Sebastian Kahn, and I serve as Community Development Manager at MCE. We're really excited to begin serving customers in Fairfield, and beginning with your April billing cycle, MCE will become your primary electricity provider. You've probably gotten a few pieces of collateral in the mail from us, maybe seen some messaging on Facebook or social media, and we're here tonight to just let you know who we are and the work that we do. MCE is a groundbreaking, not-for-profit public agency, and as a customer with MCE, you'll benefit from our comprehensive local energy programs and help fight climate change at the same time. Today, I'll be giving an overview of MCE and the work that we do as an agency, your energy service options as an MCE customer, and highlighting the overall value that MCE provides to our customers and local communities. Tonight's presentation is being recorded and live streamed on Facebook. We've also enabled closed captions for this presentation as well. For any attendees that need translation services in Spanish, we do have resources available at mcecleanenergy.org/español. And within the next week, we're going to be recording this full presentation in its entirety and posting that in Spanish as well. What else? For other languages, we do have support services available through our call center at 1-888-632-3674. And last but not least, participant microphones have been muted at this time. You can ask questions in the chat throughout the presentation, and we'll do our best to answer them in real time, but we're also going to have a live Q&A session at the very end. So let's dive in. Welcome to MCE. Starting in April 2022, MCE will become the primary electricity provider for Fairfield homes and businesses. That means Fairfield residents will now have a choice when it comes to how much renewable energy they want for their home or business at competitive and stable rates. At MCE, our mission is to confront the climate crisis because climate change is the biggest threat facing us today. From an increase in the number of extreme weather events to dramatic health impacts, climate change is about more than things just getting hotter. Over the past decade, we've seen the impacts of climate change firsthand here in our communities, from extreme weather events and the expanded scope and reach of some of the devastating wildfires we've seen over the last couple of years. The impacts of climate change are dangerous for many of us, and we need to make every effort that we can to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change. Chances are you've heard the term greenhouse gases, and the Environmental Protection Agency defines greenhouse gases, or GHGs, simply as gases that trap heat in the atmosphere. In the United States, we're actually the second largest producer of greenhouse gas emissions in the world, and as a nation, Our electricity represents 25% of our GHG emissions. But the good news is that here in California, we've been working diligently in recent years to reduce our emissions. In California, roughly 14% of our emissions come from electricity. And this is due in large part to agencies like toMCE, offering renewable energy services to our customers and dramatically reducing the carbon footprint of our electric grid. So what is community choice? In 2002, there was state-level legislation passed, that's Assembly Bill 117, that allowed for agencies like toMCE to exist. Community choice aggregation programs, or CCAs, are public, not-for-profit agencies that purchase electricity on behalf of customers as an alternative to the investor-owned utility, which in Fairfield is PG&E. New communities like Fairfield can vote to join a community choice aggregation program, which the city of Fairfield did in 2019. And this enabled toMCE to become the default electric service provider for the community, allowing more renewable electricity options for residents and businesses. Community choice aggregation programs follow a customer opt-out model, which means that all customers are automatically enrolled, and this helps support the state's clean energy goals. Customers can return to PG&E service at any time. Some of the key benefits with the CCA model include local decision-making, tailored community energy programs, and the ability to reinvest in local community benefits instead of creating profits for shareholders. So with toMCE, what is changing and how does electric service work, you might be wondering. So all electric customers' bills each month include generation and delivery services. At toMCE, we take over PG&E's role of electric generation for customers, supplying more energy from clean, renewable power sources. PG&E continues to deliver the electricity from the grid to your home or business, address service outages, maintain the poles and wires, and send your bill each month, which includes toMCE's generation services. The end result means that you get to enjoy the same reliable electric service, and now you have more access to renewable energy choices. As far as the state of California goes, toMCE was the first community choice program in the state, but certainly not the last. Due to toMCE's success over the last several years, the model has grown around the state, and there's now 24 active CCAs across California, with hundreds of participating local governments serving over 10 million customers statewide. The CCA model is making a significant impact in the state of California with regard to increasing the amount of overall renewable energy statewide. And this has been validated by a number of research institutions, including the Luskin Center for Innovation at UCLA, as well as the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. As you can see on the left-hand side, UCLA has indicated that CCAs have played a key role in helping the state meet its renewable portfolio standards. And here at toMCE, we're actually 13 years ahead of schedule in procuring state-mandated renewables. We've been 60% renewable since 2017. So who is toMCE? And I gotta say, this is a brand new slide. We just recently updated our mission and vision statement. So really excited to bring that to you all in Fairfield. But our mission is to confront the climate crisis by eliminating fossil fuel greenhouse gas emissions, producing renewable energy, and creating equitable community benefits. And our vision is to lead California to an equitable, clean, affordable, and reliable energy economy by serving as a model for community-based renewable energy, energy efficiency, and cutting-edge clean tech products and programs. And we're going to talk tonight a little bit about what that means. So we do have 37 member communities. We were formed in 2008, following more than 6 years of careful study and development. And our service was launched to customers in 2010 as the first community choice aggregation program in the state of California. We currently provide renewable energy service to more than 580,000 customer accounts and more than 1 million residents and businesses in 37 member communities across 4 Bay Area counties: Contra Costa, Marin, Napa, and Uvalde in Solano. Fairfield is going to be our 3rd incorporated city that we serve in Solano County, joining Benicia and Vallejo. And we also serve the unincorporated portions of Solano County as well. So the public process to bring MCE to Fairfield began in 2019. We did give 2 informational presentations to the City Council that year. And in December 2019, the City Council adopted an ordinance authorizing the implementation of MCE. From there, MCE's Board of Directors voted in 2020 to include Fairfield as the newest MCE member community. And the California Public Utilities Commission certified the MCE implementation plan in 2021. Most recently, in November of 2021, the City Council nominated Councilmember Panduro to serve on the MCE board, with Councilmember Scott Tonneson serving as the board alternate. And beginning in April, just a couple weeks here, all eligible Fairfield residents and businesses will be enrolled in MCE service. So a little bit about our board. As a local public agency, MCE is governed by our board of directors. These are 31 individuals that are all elected officials from the member communities that we serve. There are no tax dollars that go towards the folks that sit on our board, and they're all council members, members of board of supervisors from the cities, towns, and counties that we serve. And they help make decisions about rates and programs for MCE customers. And again, just to reiterate, for Fairfield, your representative on the MCE board is Councilmember Dries Panduro. So a little bit about some of the MCE compliance obligations. Who's regulating MCE? How are we ensuring compliance? As mentioned, we are regulated by our local board of directors. However, as a CCA program, we do need to meet and follow all the compliance obligations at the state level with the California Public Utilities Commission, and at a federal level as well. So you can just see some of those obligations here, which include meeting the renewable portfolio standard, resource adequacy, and emissions performance standard. And additionally, as a local agency, we're able to set targets above and beyond those required by state law, such as our decision to offer a minimum of 60% renewable energy to our customers, as well as 2 100% renewable service options. So MCE is self-funded. We don't use any tax dollars. And as a not-for-profit public agency, any financial benefits directly serve the communities that we operate in. 86% of MCE's revenue is used to purchase power on behalf of our customers. 7% of our revenue goes to overhead like staff and our offices. And an additional 7% of our revenue is available to be reinvested into our communities. We do have this says 2, but I believe it's 3 investment grade credit ratings at this point, with a credit rating of A from Standard & Poor's. And these credit ratings enable MCE to purchase power at more competitive rates, making it possible to invest more in our communities. So I think you all probably have a decent understanding at this point of the key differences between MCE and PG&E, but just to reiterate, the energy delivery, the transmission and distribution still remains with PG&E. That's not something that MCE is responsible for. We do the energy procurement piece. So where your energy comes from is now MCE. As far as the customer billing component, you'll see MCE charges on your PG&E bill, but the bill itself is still sent from PG&E. So you're not going to get a separate bill. Both of us have customer support functions. For those of you on discount programs like CARE, FARA, or Medical Baseline, you're still able to remain on those. And folks that are PG&E employees still get to utilize their PG&E employee discounts as well. All right, so your energy choices. What does this all mean for you and your electric service? With MCE, you'll have a choice as a customer as to what energy you receive. As our newest customers in Fairfield, you're likely wondering, what are my options? And so there's really 3 that we want to highlight here. Beginning with your April 2022 billing cycle, you will automatically be enrolled in MCE's standard light green service. So the one in the middle here. And with light green, you're going to get 60% renewable energy, which is a little less than twice the amount that you would receive with PG&E. Additionally, for 1 penny per kilowatt hour, or roughly $5 a month more for the average residential customer, you can opt up to our deep green service, which is 100% renewable. And you can choose to opt out of MCE and remain with PG&E's electric generation service. Simply go online or give us a call with your PG&E account number to opt out. You do have 60 days after the start of service with MCE to opt out at no cost. And after that, there is a small one-time $5 fee per residential customer. So you're probably familiar with this slide. It's your PG&E bill. One important thing to note is that your bill, and really just want to emphasize this, it's still going to come from PG&E. You will not receive a separate bill from MCE. And as you can see, you still pay PG&E each month for the costs associated with the delivery of electricity. The key difference now is that your electric generation, or where the power comes from, is with MCE. Beginning in April, the main difference you'll notice each month is that you'll now see a line item for MCE electric generation charges. This is not an added charge, but a replacement charge for the generation services PG&E used to provide. And just to transition back, before MCE, delivery and generation were bundled into one larger charge. That's that $116 amount that you see here. Now they're just broken out separately. So you see the PG&E electric delivery charges, and then you also see the electric generation charges now, which was not the case before. As far as cost is concerned, the good news is that the typical Fairfield customer is going to save roughly 5% on their total electricity bill with MCE compared to PG&E. Now, the residential cost comparisons are provided here, and they're based on typical usage of a residential customer in our service area. Our cost comparisons are subject to change, but for over a decade, MCE has provided stable and competitive rates to PG&E, and we typically only change rates once a year or not at all. As mentioned, discount programs, including PG&E employee benefits, remain the same with MCE service. Care, FARA, and medical baseline are provided in full to MCE customers, and there's no need to reapply. For our customers with rooftop solar, here are some of the key distinctions between MCE and PG&E. For both MCE and PG&E, monthly surplus generation, which is the amount of excess power your panels generate that you do not use to power your home, is credited at the retail rate. For any surplus generation, MCE customers receive credit at twice the wholesale rate, whereas PG&E offers surplus annual generation credited at the wholesale rate. With MCE, you'll be charged and credited on a monthly basis, as opposed to an annual true-up with PG&E. And lastly, when you do use power from the grid, with MCE, you'll receive 60 to 100% of that power from renewable resources, as opposed to 31% with PG&E. And at this point, I would just want to make a plug for our solar community workshops that we're doing tomorrow night, as well as Thursday, the 24th, the 23rd or the 24th, whatever 2 weeks from tomorrow is. We're doing a community workshop specifically for customers with solar. That's going to be recorded too and put on our website if you're not able to join, but did want to just make a shout out for that program, or that workshop rather. So where does the power actually come from? The short answer is mostly renewable sources. We know that fossil fuels are the largest source of US air pollution, but renewables are pollution free and come from constantly replenishing natural resources like solar and wind. By turning to these sources and limiting our use of fossil fuels, we can help create a clean and secure energy future for California. And that's just what we're doing at MCE. In fact, since the 2010s, through our energy procurement practices, we've eliminated nearly 500,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. Now, we touched on how our standard service is 60% renewable, or 61% as it shows here. I believe that should be 60. But did want to break down where that power is actually coming from. As you can see, 23% is solar and 27% is wind, namely from California sources and also throughout the Pacific Northwest, with bioenergy, geothermal, and small hydroelectric making smaller components. We do procure about 36% of our power from large hydroelectric resources, which are greenhouse gas free but are not considered renewable. Deep green, on the other hand, is 100% renewable, with 50% coming from wind and 50% coming from solar. And all of this content is reported to the California Public Utilities Commission. or excuse me, the California Energy Commission, and is verified through an independent audit as well. As mentioned, our deep green product is 100% renewable and comes from California-based sources. And more than 70% of MCE's member communities have chose to opt up all of their municipal accounts to deep green. Okay, now that you know a little bit about MCE and where the power comes from, did want to discuss some of our customer and community programming. As mentioned, MCE does not have any shareholders and is controlled by a board of local elected officials, which means that you as members of the public have more control over the decisions that we make. Some of those decisions relate to customer programming, and we're proud to offer a full suite of innovative energy savings and energy management programs that are available to our customers. Some of these include energy efficiency programs for single family, multifamily, commercial, and agricultural customers. We offer electric vehicle charging infrastructure incentives and rebates for the purchase of electric vehicles. We also support battery storage solutions to increase energy resiliency at critical facilities in our communities. And we also offer rebates and no-cost energy efficiency assessments. And this last slide here, or the last bit of this slide, we really try to prioritize equity in some of our community energy resiliency initiatives. So these are just some examples of your dollars at work. This is not an exhaustive list of all of our customer programs, but is meant to just give you a flavor of some of the things that we typically reinvest in at MCE. So just continuing to build on the customer programs piece, for our electric vehicle rebates, we do offer $3,500 per vehicle, and that's stackable with other incentives as well for folks that are income qualified and are considering purchasing an electric vehicle. And we know that over the past 2 years, the pandemic was really tough on a number of folks in our community. So we launched what we call the MCE Cares Bill Credit, which offers $10 a month off your utility bill for qualified customers. So more information about that on our website. And then over the years, we've offered $725,000 in solar rebates to income qualified customers. Since our inception as an agency in 2010, our impact across the state has been deep. We've eliminated over 700,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases, the equivalent to 108,000 cars off the road for an entire year. Our default service is 60% renewable, and we will be 95% carbon-free by 2023. Our customers have saved over $68 million on their bills since 2010. We've committed over $2 billion to build new California renewable projects, and 49 megawatts of renewable energy projects have been built in our service area. At MCE, we want a better future for ourselves, for the ones we love, for all things living on this planet, because climate change is real, but together we can change our future. Great things happen when communities are empowered to create our own choices. And with that, we're proud to welcome Fairfield to MCE service. So thank you so much. I know that was a ton of info. I know there's been some questions in the chat. Hopefully we are able to answer most of them. Before we go to a larger Q&A, we want to make this a little bit interactive. I've been talking for quite a while now, so we're going to do a quick poll. Dan, if you could pull that up, just to see where you all are calling in from this evening.
And in the meantime, we will go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Mariela Herrick. I am also Community Development Manager with MCE, and I will be moderating the Q&A section. And really quickly in Spanish, just in case we have any Spanish listeners. Hola, mi nombre es Mariela Herrick. Soy la gerente de desarrollo comunitario de MCE. Y si tiene preguntas, por favor, ponga sus preguntas en el chat y nosotros las contestaremos. Yo hablo español y también vamos a tener esta presentación grabada y lista para ustedes la siguiente semana. I would like to invite the rest of the MCE staff to unmute and introduce themselves.
Good evening, I'm Leanne Hoadley. I manage our community and customer engagement team, and we're really thrilled to be here this evening. Jared?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jared Sherwood, and I'm a customer account analyst here at MCE.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jared. My name is Jenna Tenney. I'm MCE's Marketing and Communications Manager. Very happy to be with you all this evening, and I will pass it over to Martin. Oh,
Sorry,
Martin,
Martin,
you're on mute.
You're on mute.
My name is Martin, and after 2 years of Zoom, I would probably figure this out, but I have not. I work with local businesses in Solano County and Fairfield, and looking forward to working with you. Elliot, go ahead.
Thanks for having me. I'm Elliot. I'm one of the public affair interns with MCE. I've been here for about a year now. Thanks.
Great. Well, thanks everyone. I think we can get to the questions here. Chris, I see your hand raised. I want to address David's question first. Or actually, let's go to the poll here. So where our folks are calling in from. See some Cordelia, Green Valley representation, some Wood Creek representation. Hello to our folks in downtown and Paradise Valley and our other East Fairfield neighborhoods.
Yeah, so I think Jenna was going to go ahead and answer David's question. And for everyone listening, the question is, when power costs spiked in Texas a couple of years back, wasn't it due to energy bunkers like you?
Thanks, Mariella. Yeah, so a great question about energy brokers and what that actually means. So MCE is a community choice program, as Sebastian explained. We are a local not-for-profit government agency, so very different model than the Texas model, which is an open utility market. So there's a completely free competitive market there in Texas. In California, we have a semi-deregulated market. So what that means is that you do have choice, but it's highly regulated by the state. There's a variety of different agencies that oversee energy providers like MCE, PG&E, and then we also have specifically just municipal electricity providers, which are a little bit different as well. So MCE, our rates are set by our board of directors, and unlike Texas, they don't fluctuate nearly as much. So our rates are typically assessed on an annual basis, and as a government agency, that is done in public meetings. We invite all of our customers to come and voice their opinion on what our rates are going to be for the next period of time. Typically, as I said, we only change them once per year. Oftentimes we've changed them less than that. But all of that means that you have a very stable rate base here with MCE. We're going to make sure, and it's actually part of our mission, to ensure that you have stable rates and can get a really good understanding of what you are going to be paying for your electricity bills. So I hope that helps.
Thanks for taking that, Jenna. Let us know if you still have questions, David. The next question I have here was sent in private message, and it is asking, how do I opt up to the 100% renewable deep green option? I'll go ahead and take that one. That's super easy. I'm adding the link to opting up in our chat. All you have to do is fill out that form. You could also give us a call and we would be able to do that. And Chris, I am going to ask you to unmute, and you should be able to unmute yourself now so you can ask your question.
Actually, I had two questions. Briefly, when your presenter was showing the different billings of PG&E and MCE comparatively and all, they gave us the breakdown for the electricity generation by MCE and how the bill was going to be or how the bill was going to look, but he glanced over something called additional PG&E fees, and there was in the amount of $14 or something like that. Nobody mentioned what those additional PG&E fees are.
Yeah, Chris, let's pull that slide back up. What you're referring to is the power charge indifference adjustment. Basically, what that is, it's an exit fee, so to speak. So when PG&E bought energy contracts previously, they needed to account for the number of customers that they were able to serve, and so in order to make our customers indifferent to the choices of others, That's that added fee, that $14 that you see here, right? So the average cost ends up still being lower for our MCE light green and deep green customers because our generation charges are so much lower. As you can see, when you're opted in April, you're going to be paying on average, and this is just an average customer, about $57 a month in generation, and that will fluctuate depending on how much energy you use. But that PCIA or the added PG&E fee is going to be the same across the board. So hopefully that makes sense. If I didn't do
well, then in that case, the savings is not that much. It's just $10 or less than $10, and we're going through this whole process to save $10 a month or something like that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. But I would also say that you are getting about twice the amount of renewable energy as you otherwise would, on top of a number of customer programs that we're able to offer at MCE. So I think that's part of the customer value add here. You're right, it is on average only about $10 a month less, but we think that there are a number of benefits that are available to you as an MCE customer.
But you know what, this is like a presentation table that you set up there, but we really don't know exactly what your prices are. And once we get off the PG&E grid, we don't know what the PG&E prices are. So how do we compare?
Well,
I want to go ahead and invite Jared.
Yeah, I'll happy to hop in. We're happy to do personalized cost comparisons. If you do want to reach out to info@, we can actually look at a customer's bill and just show you how much you would be saving when transitioning over to MCE. But just to go back a little bit back on the PCIA, I would like to reiterate that that fee is also baked into PG&E's rates already. So everybody has to pay essentially an equal share of these contracts that PG&E signed previously. Ours is just a separate line item that when added to our generation cost is still 5% lower than what you would be paying with PG&E.
There's another question that I had. You in one of those presentation screens, you talked about installing heat pumps. What exactly does that entail?
Yeah, so we do have, I believe it's a $1,000 rebate that is paid directly out to contractors that install heat pump water heaters. So
on the water heaters, the heat
correct,
pumps, recirculating pumps. Are they the recirculating pumps?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions, Chris. I'm going to go ahead and mute you just for the moment. There are a few other questions coming in direct message, and so I want to give other folks an opportunity to ask. Alrighty, so the next question, I see here is, will I receive a separate bill from MCE?
I can hop in and take that one. Simple answer, no. We like to keep it as simple as possible when transitioning customers. So all MCE charges will actually be on your PG&E electricity blue bill, as we like to say. And if you have your auto payment set up to pay your PG&E electricity bill monthly, that will continue, and there will be no change into your billing processes.
Thanks so much, Jared. Jim, I have you next in queue. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Jim, can you hear us?
Okay, all set?
Yep.
Okay, I was able to download a document. It's got MCE in the logo here. It's called the Joint Rate Comparison. And in there, I looked at my rate schedule from PG&E to look at the comparison. And PG&E is going to be about $11 cheaper than the light green. Okay, so I'm wondering why that is, if this is supposed to save me money or not, or what? What's going on?
Thanks for that question, Jim. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Jared.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in there. And just to clarify, so the joint rate mailer is an annual postcard that we send, or email now, that we send to all current customers that gives you a snapshot at that time of what your costs would be with MCE versus PG&E. So the last joint rate mailer, and annually, we usually send it in the late summer or fall. So that last joint rate mailer was referencing rates as of May of last year. So we'll be launching, when we launched to Fairfield, this, we actually changed rates this past March, as well as PG&E. So with these updated rate changes, Fairfield customers will actually be saving 5% currently when being enrolled into April. And you will receive that same joint rate mailer in May or later in summer with a snapshot that does show the current savings.
Okay, that'll come after we're already in the program, all right?
Correct. Yep, we send that to
that's not-
every enrolled customer.
That's not really fair. I just received this notice of this change just late last week, and you're telling me that my billing, or this program is going to go into effect with the April billing. Well, my PG&E bill goes from mid-March to mid-April. So is that my April billing, or is the April billing going to be April 15 to May 15?
So it'll be on your April billing cycle. So if you're if you start
Don't say April billing cycle, because I don't know what that means. March 15th to April 15th is my billing cycle, or is April 15th to May 15th my billing cycle?
So if you usually start on the 15th, you'll be enrolled on April 15th. We'll be enrolling customers on the start of their April billing cycle. So that'll be April 15th for you.
Okay, that wasn't clear in all of this.
Jim, if I could just real quickly add a slight clarifying note. I think the document that you're referencing, which Jared is referencing, the piece that it's like a smaller portion of that document that gets sent to every customer. There's a larger document that's on our website that goes with that mailing piece. And that is also as of May of last year. And I also just want to call out that even though that mailer only comes once a year, we do update our rate comparisons on our website every time that a rate change goes into effect. So on our rates page and also on the Fairfield enrollment page, which is listed on all of our mailers, you can go there and see the cost comparison and what that looks like for you. And then as Jared said earlier, we're also happy to help with individual comparisons. So if you'd like to reach out to our team, we can help you specifically.
Alrighty, Jim, I'm going to go ahead and mute you for the time being because I do have a few other questions coming in a direct message. I have listed our contact information in the chat. I've also listed the cost comparison in the chat. So if you click on that link, you'll be able to see that. If you have more questions, please feel free to write it in the chat or raise your hand again. But in the meantime, I want to make sure I get to everyone's questions. So the next question I have here is, I'm on medical baseline. Does this stay the same with MCE? And do I need to do anything? Sebastian, you want to go ahead and take this one?
Sure. If you're on medical baseline, you can remain on medical baseline. You don't need to take any action.
And I would also like to add that applies to any other program. So if you're on California State Program CARE, the federal program FARA, or even have a PG&E discount, that still applies to your bill. Thanks so much for asking that question. So the next question I have here is, I'm considering purchasing an electric vehicle. Are there any rebates or programs that can help me afford a new or used electric vehicle? I can go ahead and take that one. So we do have electric vehicle rebate programs for income qualified customers. I'll go ahead and put the link in our chat, but you can get $3,000 rebate towards the purchase of an electric vehicle. We also have a program for electric vehicle charging for multifamily properties and for businesses. So if you are interested in getting that for multifamily property or business, we offer a $3,500 rebate that's available to you for installing that charger. And you're always welcome to reach out to us if you have more questions about that. So I'm not seeing any other questions. Please don't be shy, add them via the chat or feel free to direct message them to me. In the meantime, I'll put our EV charging rebate information in the chat.
This is Leanne. I'll just add that if folks have questions that come up after this presentation, of course, please don't hesitate to give us a call. You can also always email us at info@mcecleanenergy.org, and you will most likely talk to even one of us on this call today. We our call center reps are all local and all in-house.
All right, seeing a raised hand from Jim again. Jim, will go ahead and ask you to unmute.
You should be able to do that now.
Okay. Okay, thank you. From what I can read from the documents is that the only way to opt out would be by making a phone call. Is that correct?
You can also fill out a form. I will add that to the chat right now.
There's an online link too, but yeah, whichever is easiest.
There's a form? What?
Yes, I'm including it in the chat right now. It's a link to our webpage. You fill that out and you can opt out that way.
That one. Okay.
Mariela, I think that's the link to enroll in Deep Green.
Oh, sorry.
No.
The opting up and opting out look the same to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm adding it right now. Apologies for that. Thanks for catching that, Sebastian. It
Cool.
is in
Thanks,
there
now. I saw a question come through from Tuba. Can solar customers opt out at any time without charge? Jared, would you mind taking that one?
Yeah, so we have a little bit of an interest. We're enrolling customers, solar customers, on a rolling basis. So just to clarify, when solar customers transition to MCE service, they'll be trued up for all PG&E charges that they owe at that time. To minimize the credit losses for those solar customers transitioning to MCE service, we'll actually be enrolling you in the month of your true up. So if your true up's in July, we'll actually be enrolling you on your July billing cycle. So all customers will have, will still get the two pre-enrollment notices, at least 60 in that 60-day pre-enrollment cycle. And then you also get two post-enrollment notices. So you will have that 60-day period before and after, like every other customer, of your enrollment date to opt out. And if you would like to also just reach out to info@mcecleanenergy.org, we can also help you notify you of when you are expected to be enrolled, and also just process your opt-out request at that time.
Thanks so much, Jared. And it looks like the next question is in the chat from David, and it says, do you know why Vacaville did not choose to join MCE? And I'm gonna go ahead and ask Sebastian to go ahead and answer that.
Sure. Yeah, great question, David. Thank you. I can't speak to why or why not Vacaville chose to not join MCE, but I'll say that for member communities that are interested in joining MCE, we're always happy to do educational presentations and community outreach for folks that want to learn more. For Vacaville and really any other member community that's considering joining MCE, they would be eligible to join in 2024. So a little ways off, I know, but if you recall from the presentation, that slide of the Fairfield adoption process, there's a number of different different points in the process. It needs to be voted on by the city council. It needs to be approved by MCE's board. The state then needs to approve that implementation plan. So all that takes some time. So yeah, if Vacaville were to choose to join MCE, they'd be able to do so in 2024. So hopefully that answers the question a little bit.
I'll just add to that it's, I don't know that we'd say that they haven't joined, they've decided to not join. They haven't brought the, they haven't agendized it. And so therefore, the city council hasn't made a decision. The decision hasn't even been brought forward to their city council yet.
Thanks so much, Leanne and Sebastian. I have another question here, and I'm going to throw this one at Jared, but the question is, I have solar on my roof. How does this work with MCE?
Awesome. Yeah, so we're really excited to have our solar customers joining us. So yeah, we offer a very similar NIM program as what you were offered as with PG&E. We have an annual cash out cycle. What a slight difference that you will know with our program is that we actually bill our NIM customers monthly. So if to prevent large true-up bills of a whole year's worth of annual charges coming at once, we will actually bill you if you use energy that month and are a net user. But in terms of an annual cash out cycle, we run an annual cash out cycle in April, and all of our net generators actually get twice the compensation that they would with PG&E. So over the course of the year, if you produce if you generate more solar energy than you use, we will actually write you a check or give you a credit directly onto your bill, depending upon the amount that you generated over the course of a year.
Thanks so much, Jared. And I know some of you are sending questions directly to me, and some of you are putting it in the chat for everyone. Feel free to do what is most comfortable for you. The next question here is, how many communities are members of MCE, and how can we see which communities they are? So I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat that has our member communities. But we have 37 communities that are part of MCE across 4 counties: Contra Costa, Solano, Marin, and Napa. And I'm just taking a second to scroll through the chat to make sure I didn't miss anyone's questions. So I'm not seeing any more questions. Want to give you all another last chance to give any questions. If not, we'll wrap up. So please let me know. Take a minute to add any questions or raise your hand if you have any more. This isn't the last time you will hear from us. We have a few more community events. I will link them in the chat. So if at some other point you have questions, feel free to come to one of these other sessions or reach out to us through the contact information, and we're always happy to chat with you all. So the Fairfield webpage is now in the chat. And when you go through that page, you can see the other events that we have, so other opportunities to chat with us. Seeing no other questions in the chat and no other raised hands, I think we're going to wrap up. Thank you all so much for your time. We look forward to chatting with you all again, and welcome to MCE. Thank you and good night.